young now. It's all changed from my time.
I hope the quality hasn't gone down too much.
No.
I hope we're still up to standard for the champ.
It's good.
But yes, FightHype.com. Sean Patel here with International Boxing Hall of Famer, of course, the great Christy Martin. Christy, what brings you to Fight Week?
Anytime there's a big fight, my wife and I, we're trying to take it in. We want to be involved. I love boxing, and just the atmosphere today here in the hotel, it's all the excitement. I always get hyped up and ready for a big fight.
You got a prediction for tomorrow night's fight?
I really think it's going to be a really good fight, very competitive. I think that Ugas has a lot of that underdog. Like, I got to show the world that it wasn't just I'm not a one-trick pony. But this is Spence' hometown, so I think both of them are going to bring their best. I'm going to go a little bit for the underdog.
How do you see him doing it? If he does, being craftier, a little slicker, or just?
I think it's got to just pulling out the dog, Because you look at it. You're in Texas. You have to beat the champion. They're both champions, but you're really going to have to beat the hometown champion. But I think the pressure, pressure busts pipes. So let's see what happens.
And dying to hear what you think about Taylor Serrano.
I think Taylor Serrano is that fight that really can take women's boxing to a new level. I think Serrano, I refer a little bit back to my fight with Deidre Gogarty, because Serrano is like me, I think, the bulldog and want to throw the big punches. And Taylor is a very well-rounded boxer puncher, but more boxer. So I think it's going to be styles make fights. I just hope it turns out to be a great fight that has the fans on their feet and really, really gets people interested again in women's boxing.
Is it like the Olympic style against the professional style kind of here, with Serrano being the pro?
You know what? That could be a good point, because Katie Taylor spent so much time in the amateurs with the Olympics. She has so much experience. So yes, it would probably be a little bit of the movement, bam, 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 just touch you. And Serrano wants to hurt you, so it's going to be who can impose their will on the other one.
What do you think of just the sport in general, the sport in women's boxing compared to when you were champion? And what are your thoughts?
I think it was a great time during the 90s. Like, it was a lot of us women that really we worked hard. We brought women's boxing to the forefront. People started watching women's boxing, taking notice, and then it kind of fell off a little bit because part of that is no promoter continually gave a female fighter the exposure that Don King gave me, for instance. So it's kind of in the lull. But now they have the opportunity to really bring it back to the forefront, and I just hope that it's a great fight, so it will bring women's boxing back to the forefront. If it's a bad fight, it's going to hurt.
Because when you, Lucia Riker and Layla Ali retired, like you said, there was this void that I guess now is filled, right? But it took a while.
Well, they have the opportunity to fill it. I think at the end of my career, I fought Layla, and I really thought, this is kind of the passing of the torch. It's the old fighter fighting the young fighter, and I didn't want it to be that way, but that's the way it ended. But Layla, Layla went to the gym. She learned how to fight. She's a really, really good fighter. But I don't think that her thing wasn't to be in boxing for a long time. So she, basically got out of the sport, and then no one really could carry the torch. So now they have the opportunity, Taylor Serrano, they have the opportunity to reignite the spark.
One fight that people love to have a fantasy fight about is Layla against Claressa Shields.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have been a good fight?
No. Layla smokes her.
Layla smokes her.
Layla smokes her. Layla smokes her. I smoke her. Lisa smokes her. We go all the way. I can list you 10 women that smoke her. So she should probably go over to MMA.
Do you think Savannah Marshall smokes her?
Absolutely.
Have you seen that girl?
And I could be ringside for that.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Commentating or?
No, just hanging out.
You go all the way overseas?
Absolutely.
It's because what it means to
just because it's a great fight for women's boxing. And there'll be something to be at ringside, and hey, you know what? Show me, Claressa. If you're all that in a bag of chips, show me. Here's the opportunity. I want to see it in person.
The GOAT. She calls herself the GOAT, Christy.
Yeah, well, we know who went into the Hall of Fame the first year that the International Boxing Hall of Fame was allowing women to come in. We know who broke down lots of barriers so that Claressa Shields is able to do what she does today. And I don't think it was her. I think Ice paved a great way for her to have the opportunities that she has today. And she should reflect back on not just me, but all of us as a group in the 90s that really made it easier for her to come along and do what she's doing.
And lastly, I don't know if I got your actual pick on Taylor. So are you leaning towards Serrano because she's more like you said, your style?
I go back and forth because I see it where I know my style. So I know that my style can be outboxed, but somebody has to be very focused, and you can't let your guard down for 1 second because you can get caught with that big shot. I know my style. I know my style. We can break people down. So I go back and forth, like whose will's gonna be the strongest that night, and it might just be that who's the strongest that night. It might be, if we did it again the next night, it might be a different winner.
Do you have a girl that you like the most fighting right now? You got Estrada, Michaela Mayer.
Yeah, I just I think Serrano is a really good fighter, and she has a lot of personality, and she's speaking out more. She's letting some of her personality start to really shine. So I think she's a positive for women's boxing again. Plus, she has the social media freight train behind her. So, Jake Paul and those guys, it can't be a bad deal there.
It's just a pleasure to catch up with you, Christy. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.